Gibson, driver of the 13 Mitigator Ford Fusion. I'd like to thank you for listening to Let's Talk Racing.tv.
Jr., driver of the number 5 Kiker Motorsports Hembree. Welcome to Let's Talk Racing TV.
With Rockingham Speedway. Thanks for listening to Let's Talk Racing.
I'm Tony Peter, driver of the number 17 Toyota Nascar Camp World Truck Series, and you're listening to Let's Talk Racing.
Hey guys, I'm Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bain, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing.
Well, it's time for Let's Talk Racing. We got Scott Allen, Al Pearce, myself, Roger Brehm, and we're expecting Wayne Wyatt to show up shortly. But what can we say? Everybody's all baited with everything ready to go on this chase now?
Oh, we're ready.
Yeah. I don't know about them, huh?
Yeah, I don't know about those guys, but we're ready. They Saturday night at Morehouse, back up a minute. Friday night at Richmond was pretty awful. Bush just humiliated them.
Yeah,
Led every lap.
Led every lap.
The next night it was almost as bad. Keselowski led all but just a
17,
handful. Yeah,
I think it was.
Yeah. I talked to Kyle Petty Sunday about Richmond, and he agreed with me. I said, you know, at halfway, after 200 laps, we could have started writing our stories right then, because in the last 200 laps, hardly anybody changed any positions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boyer was second for a while, then he was third, but he never made a run at the front. And it was always going to be Keselowski up front. Either Gordon was going to be second or Boyer.
Oh.
Boyer, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But nothing really changed. 3 cautions for debris, I believe.
Yeah.
And 1 for a guy in the
climbing the fence.
Yeah. And that was a Danica lucky dog, by the way. She got lapped 3 times and got 3 lucky dogs.
Yeah, she did.
One of which was the guy on the fence. So.
Yeah, I think Brad was just kind of riding. I think when those guys
they
picked
all
up a
ride.
little bit, he just ran just hard enough to run in front of them.
Yeah, I think people like Biffle Biffle was in a bad spot for a while, but once Biffle got back on the lead lap and got in the top 20, which is where he had to be, that was only in case of the guy, you know. So
Yeah.
Biffle just rode. Newman, you know, you hardly saw him all night.
Yeah, didn't he run in the top 10 though?
Well, he ran up front, but
Yeah.
never.
Yeah.
I think he was content to run with a little cushion and a little cushion,
Yeah.
knowing that if I don't really screw up, I'm going back to check.
Now, I heard Jeff made a good comment that so far as going forward in the chase, that it was just going to be consistency. Do you think people are really going to push to try to win a race, just advance, or are they just going to be comfortable riding top 5?
I think it depends. For example, Chicago this weekend,
Just put you right on that.
if a non-chase driver is leading late and a chase guy's running second, he might say, you know, I can live with that, because that guy's not going to advance.
Right.
You know, he's not going to move forward, and I'm going to get second place points.
You got Wayne on the phone. Add him to your conversation.
Wayne.
What do I do? Wayne, you there? We were just discussing Richmond the other night, both Saturday night and Friday night, which must have been 2 of the most one-sided races anybody's seen in a long time.
Well, the most exciting part of the races was when the guy climbed up on the fence.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. That was a Danica lucky dog moment. I wondered whether he was a Danica fan. I don't think he was that. He was probably too drunk to be anybody's fan. But,
that was pretty interesting.
yeah. Listen, you've been around this stuff a long time. You've raced, you've driven cars, you've built cars, you've owned cars, you ran a racetrack. You've been as close to it as anybody. And we want to cut to the chase, sort of, and ask you 2 or 3 questions. And we're going to keep score here. At the end of the season, the guy who has the most right answers, we'll probably buy him dinner or something. So, first of all, what do you think of the chase format overall? Just general, the idea of a playoff in which people are eliminated, just like the NFL playoffs and just like baseball and basketball. What do you think of this format to begin with?
I like it, all but the last race.
Okay. How do you solve the last race problem then?
I think when you eliminate it down to the last 4 and you start their points all over again, that whoever wins in that segment is your champion, rather than just one particular race.
Well, you know, they eliminate 4 guys after the first 3 races.
Right.
They eliminate 4 more, they eliminate 4 more. And they go to Homestead with 4 guys, and basically you're right, they reset their points, but they're all reset the same.
Correct.
Basically they're just,
Winner take all.
they start even, basically, and the guy who beats the other 3 is the champion.
Right.
My contention has been all along, if you're going to have a chase that rewards winning, only drivers who win can make the chase. Now, if that's 5 guys who win in the first 26, then that's all you got. If it's 20 guys who win in the first 26, that's all you've got. But you don't have anybody. Now, Newman and Biffle and Kenseth in any other year might have been very worthy of a chase spot, but they haven't really proved themselves this year. So my argument was, back in January, I said you've got to win a race to make the chase. After that, if you don't win one of the first 9 chase races, you're not eligible at Homestead. I mean, let's put it like it is. The team that wins the Super Bowl wins the game and wins the championship. You don't need to win the game at Homestead to be the champion. Does that sit well with you, or is that okay?
Well, I like the part about, I think you need a full field. 16 is a good round number, and I can't remember the last time you've had, what do we have, 11 or 12 different winners this year?
You had 13, and then you had three who got in on points.
Okay. Tell me the last time that you can remember that we had 13 different winners. So the format has caused people to quit points racing and start racing for wins again. I think everybody got to see that this year with the amount of different winners we had. People concentrated more on just finishing, rather than finishing good, they concentrate more on winning, which worked well. But I'll skip all the way to the end, and I've been telling people this all along. This could blow up and be the worst idea ever had with one scenario.
Absolutely. A winless driver wins the championship.
Well, either that or Dale Jr. dominates all through the whole chase enough that if they did it by points, he would be well ahead coming into Homestead and would be your champion.
I think that happened last year.
But
He didn't dominate last year, but I think Junior would have been last year's champion under the regular point deal.
But can you imagine him going in and say he's won all these races, say he wins every chase race. Let's just go all the way and make it as fantasy as it can be. He wins all the chase races. He goes into Homestead and has a flat or something out of his control happens and causes him not to win the championship. But hey, let me tell you what, you talking about mutiny. Dale Nation, Junior Nation, whatever they call it, will go wild.
Wayne, let me give you another scenario. Junior wins the first 9 chase races, finishes third at Homestead. Matt Kenseth doesn't win anything, and he's the champion.
Right.
Because Kenseth finishes second, and Junior finishes third. That's
which is a very possibility.
I don't know. It's you can't win all 9 of them, but
No.
you can go into the chase. You can go into Homestead being by far the dominant team of the year, and not have anything to show for it. But this is what Brian France wants. 3 or 4 years ago, the Patriots were 18-0 and lost in the Super Bowl.
Correct.
The best team did not win the championship that year. It took an incredible catch by some New York Giant guy against his helmet to beat him.
Right.
But that's just part of the deal. My problem with that is, and if Brian were here, I'd tell him, you've only got 2 teams playing in the Super Bowl. You got 43 teams playing in Homestead. Everybody's on the field at the same time.
Right.
And the other scenario I've heard, Wayne, is that the Final 4 guys are already saying, some drivers are saying, if I make the Final 4, I'm going to start at the rear of the field. Because I don't want to qualify 13th and be in the middle of that mess all along, because I've only got to beat 3 people. And I don't want to start in the middle of the pack. If no matter where the other 3 guys are, I'm going to ride back a while and make, do what I can. So
Right.
So who do you think? Who are the first 4 guys will be cut after the first 3 races? Who are what's the first cut?
43.
Yeah, absolutely.
47.
Okay.
The 31.
Ooh, okay.
And the 16.
Okay. Biffle.
Yeah.
All right. Who's your final 4?
24. 4. 22 and 2.
That was my pick.
And your champion will be?
That's a tough one.
It's a draw between the 24 and the 2.
You ain't gonna have no draws. Pick a number.
I know, but I mean,
I know.
I think it will come down to them. I really do. And I'm just not real sure on Junior. They peaked, and then now they seem to be not doing bad, but they're not playing with their A game again. And you have to say, Harvick has been a threat to win just about every race this year. The 2 car, they're back on top of their game, obviously. 24 has been on top of his game the whole season. It's going to come down, I think, to those 3. And Logano, the 22. I mean, Penske is strong. His program is strong right now.
Yeah.
And Homestead has been known to be a Ford track. Ford's run well there.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be real interesting. But the concept of it, though, I can tell you what, the ratings should be through the roof for that race.
It depends on who's still in it, though. If a bunch of not a bunch of nobodies, but if the favorites are not in the Final 4 and there's a good football game on that day, you don't know what you're going to get. So
I agree. Yeah, the 4 that I picked to be the first 4 out, if they were the last 4 in.
right,
yes.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, good point, exactly. All right, you hadn't given me a champion yet.
I want to say the 24, but I tell you what, the 2 is strong right now, but wow.
But we're talking 10 weeks from now, though.
I know, but then he just got a lot of pep in his step.
Okay.
I don't know if a lot of people know, and I'll give you my answer here in a minute. I was over there when they were going through pre-tech. It took that car 4 times to make it through pre-tech.
Yep, it sure did.
The first, something was wrong in the front, and I didn't get a chance to ask the guy exactly what it was. And then the spoiler on the left rear was too high, and he had to put a 16 stacker shim on the right front shock, and that got it legal. And then it was too light. It was 3 pounds light on the right, 10 pounds light on the left, and they put a chunk of tungsten in on the both sides to compensate for that. And to make that much of a change to the car, and then he still go out and dominate. That just shows you how great a car he had. That's at Richmond now. Sentimental reasons, I'm going to go with Jeff.
Okay.
That's sentimental reasons. But I think the 2 is going to end up winning the second one, but sentimental reasons I'm going to be pulling for Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll put you down, and at the end of the chase, we're going to have all our invited guests meet us for dinner one night, and we'll make fun of the guy who was worst. All right, Wayne, thanks so much for calling. We got other people lined up. We're going to get their guesses, and we'll keep this very carefully recorded, and we'll have you for dinner no matter what.
All right. Good talking to y'all.
Thank you now. Bye. All right. All right, who we got there?
What the hell, Roger?
I don't know. Marty, is that you?
I am here.
Hey, Marty O'Brien, Daily Press. How you doing?
All right. How you doing?
Wayne Wyatt just picked Jeff Gordon to win the championship. I don't want you to be influenced by his opinion, but we'll get to that part of the deal later.
When I heard that, I just moved the pick from Jeff to AJ Allmendick.
I'll tell Wayne you said so. First of all, 3 questions. First one is, and of course as a Daily Press guy, you keep up with this stuff pretty well. You were at Richmond, you're on top of stuff pretty much like the rest of us are. What do you think of the playoff chase format in general?
Generally, I like it. I like the, I think that the elimination of 4 guys from each round starting off is a good idea. The only thing that I would change is that I don't like the entire season coming down to just one race at Homestead.
But doesn't the NBA season come down to, well, the NFL season come down to 1 game? Doesn't everything come down to 1 game?
It does come down to 1 game, but, in the NFL, they play virtually all of the games on that, type of field turf. There are a few grass fields left, but they play on the same, fields basically with the same, certainly whether it's grass or turf, it's the same configurations, whereas in NASCAR, you have short tracks, you have intermediate tracks, you have plate tracks, you have flat tracks. There's a lot of difference there, and what I would like to see is that it comes down to maybe the final 3 races with however many ever people that you want to have, but that you have a Homestead, but maybe you have a Martinsville in there, and maybe a Talladega finishing it off, and you have all the different types of tracks that represent, what NASCAR is about, and then that's how you get your win.
And the other thing is that in the other championships, only 2 teams are playing at the same time.
Right.
In this case, 4 teams are playing, and 39 others are just kind of in the way.
Yeah, but that's the way it's going to be in NASCAR.
Yeah. All right, give us your first 4 out. Who are the first 4 drivers who will be eliminated after Dover? Later this month.
Well, I'll start with the low-hanging fruit, and Allmendinger.
Okay.
Go out. I'm not seeing a lot out of Kurt Busch. I don't like his chances. Almirola,
on the dinger from a weak team. And then I think, the last two guys in were Biffle and Newman, and I think one of those two will be gone, before you get to the next round.
Okay, but since we're scoring points and you're getting points for this, you can't have both of those. You got to give me one or the other.
All right, I'll take Biffle out.
Biffle goes out. Okay.
In the first four.
All right, we get to Homestead in 10 weeks. Give me your final four, and then give me your champion.
I like Jimmy to be in the final four because he's good at almost all these tracks. Jeff's good at most of these tracks, and he's very, very consistent right now. I like Harvick to make the final four for all the same reasons and all the speed that he's showing. And this is kind of a tough choice for the last one. It's coming down for me between Keselowski and Kenseth. And I know the Joe Gibbs guys aren't running that well, but Kenseth's been a little better lately, and there are a lot of good tracks for him, I think, in this chase. So I think he gets the Homestead as well. So those are the four.
And your champion is?
I'm going with Harvick.
Okay.
He has a good history at Homestead, and if he gets that far, and it's just one race, I know the other guys are fairly decent there too, but I like Harvick in that situation. That said, I'd like to see Jimmy or Jeff get it. Jimmy to get 7, and Jeff, just because it's been a while since he's won one, and he's having a great season. But I'll go with Harvick.
Let me ask you this, since you've got a few more minutes. The other guy hadn't called in yet, so you're still up. Richmond the other night, both Friday night and Saturday night, Kyle Busch led all 250 on Friday, and Keselowski led all but 17 on Saturday. With races that bad, are you surprised that the TV ratings were that bad too, or is that what you expect?
I think we've talked about this before, but I think the ratings are, I was a little surprised that Richmond was that uneventful in both races. I mean, over the years, Richmond has a history of, the last year's Cup race that was so memorable with all the craziness.
Yeah.
Richmond has a history of producing some action, but a lot of the races on the circuit, and especially the intermediate tracks, which is one of my pet peeves about having an intermediate track side chase, are just great. And so, how do you change that? I'm not 100% sure, but for me, one solution would be making the races shorter. If you're not going to change the configurations of the track to make them, as exciting as some of the races at Bristol and Martinsville and Richmond and some of the play tracks, the way they finish up from, you're not going to do that, I think, for the fans, for the short races,
Okay. All right, we got another caller waiting to call in from Chicago, so I'll see you at lunch tomorrow.
Looking forward to it.
You got my email about the change, didn't you?
I did.
Okay.
And Roger, thanks for having me.
See you tomorrow.
No problem.
Do your deal. What happens next?
So everyone's flashing.
Mikey, is that you?
It is.
Hey, boys. Mike Hembree, USA Today, a good friend of mine from upstate South Carolina. Knows as much about this stuff as anybody. Been covering it forever. Is in Chicago this weekend for the first of the 10 chase races. And Mikey, we got 3 questions for you. And I'm sure that your expertise will go a long way to solving some of our questions. What do you, in general, what do you think of this chase format in which people are eliminated and cut and basically trimmed down to Final Four? What do you think of the format?
Well, I want to hold my evaluation of that until we see how well it works. But looking at it from the front end, I like it. It's I think it's intriguing. I think the uncertainty of what might happen from week to week, adds to the fun. I hear people who say they don't like it because it sort of creates this artificial champion. But you have to factor in the fact that sports is entertainment, and I think this format certainly is going to be entertaining because what I just said of the uncertainty.
Yeah.
there are all kinds of things can happen from one part of from one segment to the next, and it just adds a lot of uncertainty, and I think that's going to jack up interest considerably.
Mikey, if you were Brian France or you were a NASCAR TV related exec, would you be terrified? Would your worst nightmare be that Junior and Gordon and Johnson and maybe Carl Edwards gets eliminated on the first 3 weekends? Is that the worst case scenario that they're facing?
Well, that certainly wouldn't be ideal. But you know, we've had chase runs before without top names being involved. You know, Junior's been absent and the world didn't end. Things would be better, you know, if those big names can advance along and at least a couple of them be around for Homestead. But I don't think there would be panic if they're not.
Okay. That leads to question number 2. Give us your first out. Give us your first finals, your first 4 who do not proceed after Dover.
I would say Newman, Allmendinger, Almirola, and Casey Kane, first 4 out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're the first one who's mentioned Kane, and I kind of agree with you because, you know, his teammates all won fairly early and qualified for the chase quite early. And from what I was told by Ken House the other day, it took a massive corporate effort on race weekend, planning-wise, strategy-wise, tactics, setup-wise, to get Kane where he could win in Atlanta. So apparently the full force of Hendrick was brought to bear on Kane, and you know, if not for a late caution, he'd have won it somewhat easily at the end. But as it was, he earned it well and truly. And but not many people think he'll make it very far. So that, of course, leads to our inevitable second question. And we're keeping score and we're giving points for success. So your ranking will be held up against others.
What are the prizes?
Well, that's to be decided. You got to come up here for dinner one. Hey, we can do that. All right, Mike? Who's your final 4, and who's going to win it?
I'm going to say the final 4, and you know, this is not a prediction. This with me involved in this is what
this is the gospel, right?
Yeah.
The gospel according to Mike. All right, what's going to happen?
Yeah. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and me. I'm saying Logano, Bill Jr., Keselowski, and Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
And your winner's going to be Keselowski.
Okay. Is that based primarily on what happened the other night at Richmond, or is it based on what happened other times during the year, or just the overall body of work?
Yeah, I think it's the overall body of work. That team has been strong all season. I think it means a lot that they're really in gear here over the last couple of months. I think they're back where they were when he won the championship. It's virtually the same group of people. I have a lot of respect for Paul Wolf and what he can do over a 10-race stretch. I think he's you know, he has all his ducks in a row in these situations, and he's talked a lot about Keselowski coming through in championship situations. I think they're just both at the top of their games at the moment.
That team does not have, or is tied. That team is tied with Earnhardt Jr. For the most top 5s this year, but they are a little bit down the list in top 10s. Gordon's got more top 10s. Junior has more top 10s. Johnson, Logano, and Kenseth, ironically, have all got more top 10s than this team. But, you know, I'd trade some top 5s for some top 10s in a heartbeat.
Well, yeah, and really you look at it, the top top tens and and the overall consistency and stuff don't mean a whole lot right now. It could mean something, but that depends on let's say what happens in week one if a non-chase driver wins the race, and that's certainly a possibility with Boyer and McMurray and
Larson, particularly.
Larson could win any week, and if he gets his head back in the game, Tony Stewart.
Right.
Well, if that should happen the first week, you're talking about a whole new ball game, really.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure out what's going to happen looking into the second segment and who's going to move forward. The whole points thing becomes that much more of a factor.
Yeah, right.
It's like I say, the uncertainty associated with all this makes it really intriguing.
Well, have fun in Chicago. I know you're going to be awfully busy. You got media day tomorrow, is that correct?
Right. Yep.
And then you'll be at the racetrack itself Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's true.
Alrighty, I will see you a week from tomorrow at New Hampshire at the Manchester Airport.
Okay, thanks, Al.
Safe travels, Mike. Behave yourself. Take care, and I will see you in a month or so. A week or so. Thanks for calling us.
Sounds good. Bye.
Good night. All right.
Yeah, I was thinking, we were talking about winning not being that big of a deal throughout the chase, just consistency. But, I got to thinking, okay, after the first cutoff, if you're 12th going into the next cutoff and your only choice is to win, it does kind of put winning a priority.
And I think it made winning was a priority during the season, but everybody kept at first when NASCAR first announced this plan in Charlotte last January. They said this means winning will mean everything. There'll be no more good point days. You won't hear a driver get out and say, "Well, we had a good point day." And as the season went on, they began to walk back from that because drivers were saying, "Hey, we had a good point day." We're still, we are the.
But it doesn't really mean anything if you won a race or two.
Yeah, if you've won one, it doesn't matter. But if you haven't won, and you're first among those non-winners, then points become very important.
Right.
Now, obviously, a win would trump everything, but going to Atlanta and coming to Richmond, you got to think that Biffle and Kenseth and Boyer and Newman and those guys were thinking, so-and-so runs awfully good in Atlanta, and I'm not sure I'm that good there. But man, if I just finish top 5 or 6 or 7, if I'm just, if I stay as a leading point guy among the non-winners, I've still got a shot.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, interesting, when Casey Kane won and took a spot away from the point guys, that meant that only 3 point guys would make the chase. If a previous winner had won it at Atlanta, like Harvick, who probably should have, that would have meant possibly 4 of the 16 drivers would have been in on points, which is 25% of the field. And I'm sure NASCAR wouldn't want anybody to remind them, hey, a quarter of your field hadn't won a race yet. How can they be a champion? How can they race for a championship?
Yeah, I think anybody that's got a legitimate shot of not winning a race, it is going to be Matt.
Yeah, yep.
And could do it. You can't really totally ever count him out.
Yeah, he won a bunch last year and hadn't done much since then.
Do you feel like that Johnson don't... I know you can never hardly count him out, but to me it doesn't feel like they are as good as they've been in the past. I think they're a little... to me, I just don't think he's going to be at the end.
But there have been times during previous chases, in fact, I believe, I did some research on Jimmy not long ago. One of the recent chases, whether it was his 3rd or 4th championship, I don't remember which one, he was hopelessly out of it as late as Martinsville. But he won Martinsville.
Yeah.
He won the next week at Texas when they changed crew chiefs. They changed crews. And then he beat Hamlin at Phoenix where Hallman made a pit stop we didn't have to.
Oh yeah.
So Johnson,
gas deal.
I think as recently as 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, Johnson has come out of nowhere and gotten on a roll, and he and Chad, I don't believe we should discount him.
Yeah, I mean, you can
he's
never
awful
totally really count him out, but it just has that feeling that he's not,
Yeah,
as he has been. But
we're waiting for somebody to call. That's why we're kind of killing time here.
Get over that, Randy.
Let's see where Randy is. You may talk if you like while I'm trying to.
I appreciate that.
You're allowed to talk while he's texting, okay?
Well, I run out of sight. I really.
Well,
what about Jimmy falling down after the race? And he was supposed to run a marathon the next day,
Yeah,
or do
he
a
was-
triathlon.
they found out there was a problem with the helmet blower. Is what it was, and he got dehydrated.
That still seems awful. Somebody as good as physical shape as that he's in, it seemed like to me there would be more than just a helmet blower.
I mean, it's still a lot of heat to be contained that it's not pulling off of you.
What them guys did back in the day. I mean, I agree to heat, but I mean.
Well, I don't think the
good
suits back in the day were that thick and that heat holding either.
Yeah, but you had nothing to cool you down. I mean, now they got cool suits.
Well, they had the windows down.
Yeah, in the beginning they had a convertible top and they had their top on it.
But you got to remember, well, some of the racetracks that you have on the right side is all totally closed up.
Yeah, not at Richmond.
No.
I think everything a mile and a half over. But that still surprises me. In as good a shape as he is in physically, I mean, to do triathlon, I've done a half marathon. I cannot imagine doing a triathlon. I mean, that takes some.
Back in the day.
9263.
What? Huh?
Your number.
Yeah.
757-727-9263.
Yep.
Okay. Send it. Yeah, he'll call.
I was gonna say just write his number down and I'll call him.
I don't know his number.
All right, so
Well, aren't you texting him?
Hmm?
Aren't you texting him?
Well, yeah, but I just said we're ready. Call anytime you want.
Oh.
But I don't have a number. I just got his name.
Email.
Are you just doing email to him?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, he'll get it. You want to call Monty in the meantime?
Well, that'd be a little unfair to Randy if Randy calls in just as I'm calling
we
Monty.
can put Randy on hold. He's all right. We still got 20 minutes, so. Isn't this exciting, people? Aren't y'all thrilled? We're sitting here treading
It's
water.
going to be interesting to see how the chase turns out. And I would kind of agree with Wayne about, I'm not super crazy about having one race deciding the champion. Because we're not like every other sport.
My suggestion was, again, you win a race, you make the chase, you go to Homestead, you must have won in the first 9 to be eligible for Homestead. And at that point, the highest finishing eligible driver wins. You don't have to win the chase. It would be nice. You don't have to win Homestead. It would be nice if you could, but not necessary. Well, somebody's calling right now.
I was just got the last number.
What happens?
Monty's.
Do I answer it?
Yeah.
Hey, is that you, Randy?
That's me, Al. How are
Hey,
you?
I'm great. Folks, this is Randy Hallman for the Richmond News Leader, Richmond Times-Dispatch. Really, I'm going back to your olden days there, Randy.
I can barely remember which it is.
Yes. Randy and I have been friends for over 40 years. We've covered racing together, been places together, seen things, and he knows as much about this as anybody. So, Randy, listen, we're keeping score. We're taking everybody's predictions. We're keeping score. At the end of the season, we're going to entertain we're going to send the winner, either invite him to dinner down here or send him a very nice gift. So, be careful. Things are on the line here. 3 questions. First one fairly easy. Generally speaking, overall, what do you think of this year's chase format?
Well, we're going to have a chase, which of course is the question from years past, but yes, we're in it, so we've got a chase. I think this chase is
pretty interesting and good, and I like everything about it, except I have a real problem with deciding it on the basis of one race and how 4 guys finish. I think that's it's too artificial. It's too subject to the whim of destiny, of chance. I don't like the one race, 4 guys. Everything else about it, I think, is pretty interesting.
Let me ask you this. Let me play devil's advocate. You and I remember the year that Richard Petty and Darrell Waltrip went to Riverside, virtually tied in points. If I'm not mistaken, they were the only 2 legitimate contenders that year, way back. And I think Darrell ran off the track and got stuck in the mud. You remember that? And couldn't get out. And Richard, I don't think Richard won the race, but he finished well enough to be the champion. So I think people would argue, or at least suggest, Randy, that in almost any situation where 1 or 2 or 3 drivers are in contention, any small thing could happen. Davey Allison got wrecked at Atlanta that year, and it took him out. So I understand what you're saying, and my suggestion would be this. You count the last 2 races. You accumulate points at Phoenix and Homestead. You run 4 races, you eliminate. You run 4 more, you eliminate. And you go to Phoenix and Homestead, so you've got at least 2 chances at it. Would that soothe you any more?
No, that doesn't get it for me. Here's my thing. You can have somebody who's one of the 4 who's won 5 races in the chase.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And deserves the championship. And then, somebody from the back of the pack blows a tire and runs into them at Homestead, and they don't win. There's too much involved, too much chance for one race to sidetrack a legitimate chance.
Okay, yeah.
I think those 4 who are in there should have a cumulative points going into that race from the whole chase.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You could still have somebody who's dominated and they wouldn't win, but then they would at least have a 10-race accumulation of points to determine which of them is chance.
Or they'd have a cushion of some. If they were that good during the first 9, they've got a little bit of a cushion on the other 3.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
we'll go along with that.
I'll be watching.
Okay, yeah.
Like I'm going to boycott it.
Okay. First of the last questions. Give me your first out. Give me your first 4 who do not advance beyond Dover.
Yeah, let's see here. I think we're gonna lose. Lose Allmendinger.
Okay.
We're gonna lose. Call this up here. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. We got plenty of time.
But I think Allmendinger will go. Although I'd love to see him stick around. I like him. I think Edwards will go.
Ooh. Okay.
I think Kurt will go. And probably Kane. No, I'm going to change that. Here's my big upset pick. I think Jimmy Johnson will go in the first round.
Wow.
Whoa.
All right.
Well, he's going out.
I'm right. I'm going to win the pool.
Right.
Yeah, that's an automatic win right there.
That's like the Patriots losing the first round at home to Phoenix.
I know, right?
All right.
The thing about it is, I don't think Johnson's weak performance over these last few weeks is just a turn it on thing. And last year they really fired up for the chase. Were great. I don't think it's there this year. I think they're having real problems, and I think it's going to be a problem.
Okay.
Maybe he won't go out in the first round, but I'm going to pick that way.
Okay. Give me your final 4.
be there. I think Jeff will be there.
Wait a minute, the first name was who?
Brad.
Oh, okay.
I think Jeff Gordon will be there.
Right.
I think Kyle will be there. Now, there's a guy I think is going to get back, and I think Harvey will be there.
Okay, okay. And your champion will be?
Drive for 5. I think Jeff Gordon's going to win it.
Okay, okay. You know, so far tonight we've talked to 4 people, and the name, Joey Logano's name has not been brought up by anybody in any context, good, bad, or otherwise. Oh, I'm sorry, one person did, yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. 2 people did, I forgot Logano, yeah. Yeah, he's number 22 now, I forgot, okay. Denny Hamlin's name has not been brought up.
Yeah.
And Newman's name has not been brought up by anybody, I don't think.
Yeah, Mike said
Maybe one person, yeah, okay, yeah. So everybody's sort of going with the kind of a consensus on Amarillo so far. You're the only one who's not picked Amarillo to go out first.
Yeah, well, you know, Jimmy crowded him out.
That's a tough choice there.
Yeah. Randy, did you watch on TV Saturday night? Or were you working?
I did. I watched it on TV. Yeah.
What much of a show was it?
It was a Terri, you know, that's what happens in NASCAR. Sometimes you get bad races, and that was one of them.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, we wonder whether how many drivers, particularly those who were points racing, by that I mean Kenseth, Biffle, and Newman, once they got into a relatively safe position, whether they sort of had people telling them, okay, you're still in it, you're still in it, you're still in it, don't make a move, you're okay. You wonder how many guys just kind of rode instead of raced because they knew they needed to ride to get in the chase.
I would think so, and I think as long as they knew that nobody knew was going to win that race.
Exactly, yeah. I talked to Kyle Petty Sunday night at a funeral down in North Carolina, and Kyle said that at the halfway mark you guys could have started writing your stories, and except for 1 or 2 changes in position, you were good to go until lap 400.
Yep.
I mean, nobody did anything to anybody.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, Randy. Listen, I appreciate your information. You were definitely out on a limb with the 48 car. We'll give you that.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see. All right. Thanks, Manny. Take care. Hey, listen. Give my wife to you. Give my best to your family, and we'll come see you guys someday.
All right. Great to talk to you.
Take care. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.
All right.
That's pretty good. The 48 go out on the first round, man.
Sorry. Well, you never know.
No, you don't ever know. I would be shocked on that one.
Like
It would be it'd get a lot of attention.
Randy may be thinking everybody else is going to pick him to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Why not go out on a limb and take him not to go? So, but yeah, nobody's mentioned Hamlin yet.
No.
Randy's the first guy to mention Bush, first guy to mention Edwards.
Nobody's really mentioned.
Somebody else mentioned Kane. One guy mentioned Kane.
Yeah. I think Kane will be eliminated after the second round. Along with
Newman, Wayne got Newman.
I tell you, I was surprised to hear him say Kyle being at the final. I don't see Kyle being at the Homestead.
Opinions.
Yeah, only one guy has mentioned.
Well, you got Monty on line
Matt
2.
Kenseth. Do what?
You got Monty on line 2.
Oh, tell me what we're doing there. Hey, Marty, how you doing, baby?
I'm just fine.
Good, good. Good to hear from you. How things in beautiful downtown Clinton, South Carolina?
About the same. We got the big ball game this weekend with the Paladins and the Blue Hose.
Oh, yeah. How about the Red Devils? How are they doing?
Not well. Not well.
Uh-oh.
You know, it's a slow start every year. I think they can't adjust to football where they don't let you allow you to practice 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah, in the interest of full disclosure, we should let our listeners know that Monty and I have known each other probably 55 years or so, something like that.
I'm not sure I remember when I was 1, Al.
All right, okay, 50 years in.
Okay, yeah.
Monty, at least 48 or 49. So anyway, Monty lives in Clinton, South Carolina, or Clinton, where I went to college, and I did not know him back when he was a young elementary school student, but we agreed that we'd probably cross paths somewhere in town at some point in time.
Probably at the PC library.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're in a plaza playing football. Monty, got 3 easy questions for you, and you got all the time you want. Generally speaking, in the overall broad scheme of things, what do you think of this year's particular chase format?
Well, I'm not fond of it, but I think the reason is that the more time goes along, NASCAR is interested in excitement rather than justice. And so I think that this format, the bottom line is, the odds favor the best performer winning. But the odds of someone who has not done that well winning get over time greater and greater. And so when I hear people, some things that just sort of make me laugh. I've been listening all week and I hear people, they always say, who are your 4 finalists? And people name who they think are the 4 best. Under this format, I think the odds are greater that one of the finalists will not. And then the other thing I keep hearing is the strategy. What is your strategy? Well, it seems like to me the strategy is pretty obvious. I think you start off and you try to win, but if you can't win, you try to finish somewhere near the front until you have a really bad race, and then you have to really win. I think the danger of this is that you have someone who finishes, second, third, and 39th, and not moving on or straying along. So it's like the consequences of whoever really has the bad race. Then they start coming up with, well, if we can make two extra laps on the fuel tank on the 39th lap, then we can make one more less pissed. I'm just saying, You start people coming up with desperate scenarios. And so, I still think that I do think that it's likely, under the previous chase format, if you went by the old year-long standards, the guy who's won the championship in most years would not have been the champion under the old format. Of course, he would have been following a different strategy too.
Right.
But I think that it's sort of excitement at all costs, and I never have liked it, and I never will.
Randy Hallman just suggested something that, not surprisingly, I had not thought of. Randy thought that the final 4, whoever they are, NASCAR after Phoenix in November, in that week between Phoenix and Homestead, those 4 drivers should have their points readjusted to what they would have scored in the previous 9 races under the current format, which means that those 4 would not precisely start with. They wouldn't start zero. They wouldn't start even. They would be based on their performance through the first 9 races, and he feels that would be more equitable than just taking the 4 guys who survived Phoenix and put them out there and let them be the contenders. The great fear being, and we talked about this at lunch not long ago in Steamers, the great fear being that if a driver dominates a chase, finishes 3rd at Homestead, he might lose the chase to a winless driver who finishes 2nd at Homestead. And like I wrote in Autoweek the other day, I want to see ESPN Sports Center at 11 o'clock on that Sunday night trying to explain that to the American public.
Well, that's there you go, crazy talk, equitable, that word. Frankly, I think a roulette wheel would be more equitable than what they got.
Yeah, maybe so.
There's a lot of things there, Al, where there's the way I think and the way we think, but that's not the way NASCAR. To me, that was the stunner as to why Darlington got back Labor Day. Because the way I look at it, Darlington should have it. It's historic. It's historically significant. But the way they think is that we put Darlington and Mother's Day, and miraculously they did pretty well. So let's give Labor Day to somebody who's not doing well.
Yeah.
I was surprised that Darlington got it back.
I'm glad they did. It's one of the few things they've done in the last 10 years that I think the great majority of fans approve.
I'm overjoyed about that. I really am.
And I hope you're there. I hope you're there next Labor Day. Because you hadn't missed many of them, have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay, now, down to nut cutting time.
Because had to practice football on Monday years ago.
All right, down to nut cutting time. Whether deserved or not, give me your first 4 out, and then give me your final 4, and then, of course, your champion.
Well, I have to. I don't think. I always have said that I don't think I have a bit more business predicting, because what I'm trying to do is tell you what already happened, not what's going to. I've also always responded when people ask me to do this, and I generally take upwards of 8.5 seconds thinking about it, and that's what I've been buying time for here. Here we go. I think that the first 4 out, I think that you have to look that, that the performance of Allmendinger and Almirola, they're not the same person.
Right, I understand.
Or 2 of them, because I just don't think that there's a performance year long. I think that, let's see, I'll do that. I need to have somebody big. There's going to be somebody out early who you wouldn't expect that. So I'm going to go with a guy who, in my opinion, could luck into going a long way, but based on the performance of his car, probably isn't. So I'm going to take Carl Edwards out of the first round.
Okay.
And then I'm going to he may win a race, but I don't think the season-long performance, I don't see Casey Kane. So I think that's kind of like unlikely for if I pick 2 long shots and 2 that you'd expect.
Okay.
Now you want me to pick the finals?
Yep, final 4.
Okay, the final 4. I'm going to have one surprise there because I think it's absolutely next, and I think there will be a surprise there. So I'm going to pick Johnson. Imagine that. And I'm going to pick Johnson and and Harvick, who I've been following Twitter, and as best I can tell, he got Stewart's pit crew, and Harvick's pit crew was sent to a gulag in Siberia.
Right.
I can tell from reading what Twitter has to say about it. So I'm still going to pick Harvick because his car is so fast. And I'm going to pick Gordon, and I think I'll pick Kenseth for the 4th one.
Okay. And your champion will be?
My champion's going to be the guy who's always be the favorite anytime. NASCAR, the only person that NASCAR can't tinker with is Johnson and his mad scientist crew chief now. So since NASCAR has not been able to finagle them out of championships successfully in the past, I think it is most likely that they will get the system straight this time.
Okay. Let me just, since you're our last caller, let me just tell you something. You are the second consecutive person to pick Edwards as an early out. You and Mike Hembree both picked Kane as an early out. Lots of people had picked Allmendinger and Almirola as an early out.
Yeah,
lots of people.
Yeah, even this treat-up format, I don't think they can surmount.
But only 2 people have picked Johnson to get to the finals, and you're the only guy to pick him as the champion.
Well, that's amazing to me.
I think so.
Shows me it's like the world's shortest memory. Not only that, but when people talk about how he staggers, look at the history. He slumps in the summertime every year and gets fast right before the chase starts.
And 4 of the 5 callers have picked Gordon to make the final 4, and 2 of them have picked him to be the champion. So there you go.
Let me see if I got one last thing to say. Let me just say that what no one's talking about is you think there's the potential for chicanery at Richmond a year ago? I'm not saying it's even chicanery.
something's going to happen that's going to look real bad before whether it is or not. You might have somebody who has, is going to move ahead that is finished in the top 8, say, in the races, and is about to make it. And if that person wrecks near the end, what's it going to look like? Particularly if it's, somebody who's not in the chase, who's a teammate of someone who is. So I just think that get ready because this is bound to bring controversy.
Right, okay. Monty, we're going to give you a chance here. Folks who don't know Monty as well as they should know they do know he's a terrific writer, a great blogger, and he's also quite an author. Briefly, we got some time. Tell us about your 2 novels and what's in the pipeline coming down from Monte Dutton.
All right, I'll try to get this race through this. My first novel is called The Audacity of Dope. It's about a singer-songwriter, free spirit who becomes a national hero and doesn't really want to be, but he winds up being a hero. The second book, the one that's out on the stands most notably now, is called The Intangibles, set in the 1960s, and it's about the South, civil rights, desegregation, and of course, high school football.
High school football, yep.
I am still rewriting a couple. I'm just about finished with the first draft of a crime novel that I've just decided to call Forgive Us Our Trespasses. And it's really 2 away, but it's about a corrupt, ambitious solicitor with political ambitions and a good cop who's trying to stop him. And the book in between that I'm about to try to spiff up a little go through one more draft, is called Crazy of Natural Causes.
Okay.
It's about a guy who's not a very good person, but he's nearly killed in a car wreck, and he comes back, and it's sort of like one of the things like with Bobby Allison, after being in the wreck, he doesn't remember anything that happened. And so at some point, he's a good fella, but at some point, people try to ruin him, and he's got an interesting problem. He doesn't know whether he did that stuff or not.
Okay.
So that's the other one. So that's my fiction stuff. And then I have a website that's about fiction that I write short stories on. I'm writing one about a baseball, an old baseball coach right now that's called Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And that's at Well Pilgrim. You know how John Wayne said, Well Pilgrim? Well, wellpilgrim.wordpress.com. And most of what's on that page is stuff I made up.
Unlike your race stories that we've admired for years.
Yeah, I should mention the ones that people actually read. MonteDutton.com, MonteDutton.com.
Terrific site. You have, let me tell you what, folks, Monte Dutton has a unique, creative, refreshing, and thought-provoking outlook on damn near everything. And I'm proud to say that we've been friends for something less than 50 years, but certainly more than 40. And hope to see you on my way to Talladega next month. I'll stop in and buy you lunch at Steamers.
Thanks a lot, Al, and I appreciate it. Now I'm kind of poor these days, so
I know
the check won't be as big this time.
I know. Oh, by the way, now I know that you are not. I know that you're not torn by this weekend's football game at Bailey Field, but do you have any hope at all for the Blue Hose?
Well, I'm a little bit torn because I actually, most weekends I either go to a Furman or a PC game or both. I went to the PC game this past Saturday, and I have to admit that having gone to Furman, I just say that this coming weekend, I will see a lot of people who are friends of mine at both places.
Yeah, oh, I know you will. Yeah.
Well, Clinton will not be used to me not pulling for the Blue Hose, and I just have to say, number one, I went to Furman. Number two, I always liked PC, and they're my 2 favorite teams. But number 3, a good PC man would think less of me if I was a good Furman man and did my Bowden. So I don't think it's likely PC could win, but they almost won last year.
Yeah, I know.
So, and they're at home, and they have all the incentives. PC gave up 55 points in the first game and scored 69 in the second. Now, there's a mite of a difference between Northern Illinois and Bluefield, West Virginia.
Yeah, I know.
Furman has been sort of real good defensively, but not that good offensively, and it's 2-0. So I'm worried because I know that PC is going to have more motivation than Furman does, and that always scares me.
Well, have a good Saturday. I'll be doing yard work. I'm not going to Chicago, but I'm going to New Hampshire and Dover in the next 2 weekends to see what this crazy thing is all about. Monty, appreciate you calling. Always like to talk to you. Enjoy hearing from you. Best to you, and Steamers is on me next time.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Take care, Monty. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
He's a great writer. He's
Is
terrific. Oh, great writer.
So what kind of restaurant is Steamers?
Just a little cafe in the little town where he lives. Where's Ryder?
Right here.
Oh, we're ready to go, baby.
I figured you were. I heard it got quiet back here. And Studio B being quiet, I'm not really used to that.
Oh no, we weren't quiet at all.
Now, Al, you gonna put your predictions down?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh. And yours too. Alright. Mine's gonna be pretty easy. 43, 47, 31, and 11. Because I don't like him.
They're going to be gone the first round?
44, 48, 2, and 4. There's your champion right there.
Who's your champion you circled?
48.
48? I think Jimmy's going to get number 7, huh?
Absolutely.
For some reason, I just don't feel like they're
Yeah. They're just laying into a snake in the grass.
Well, I mean,
lay it into weeds.
You can never really totally count him out.
Lay it into weeds.
I still don't. I'm still not up for that last race of the season. Is what's going to be actually who decides it.
Yeah.
Do you know of anybody that's actually keeping track of monetary numbers and everything else who would have won without the new chase?
Oh yeah, I'm sure somebody's keeping track of
I know
those
JC's
stats
always has
under the old
that,
way. So
yeah.
all right, I'll leave this here so we can refer to it next week. And actually, we can use it. We can kind of scratch people out as we go along. All right, we're out of here. We're going to dinner.
Everybody, catch y'all next week on Let's Talk Racing. See ya.